Genau appears in the First-Class Mage Examination arc as a proctor, alongside another character who will be introduced later. He is the quintessential representation of the distinction held by first-class mages. When this title is mentioned, Genau and the other proctor are the ones who immediately come to mind. Genau is calm, rational, and at times ruthless. He believes that sacrifice is inevitable if it means achieving the objective. Some argue that overly kind mages are unlikely to survive. Serie once told him to stay true to that personality. After the exam, Genau reunites with Frieren's group on a mission to eliminate a demon general. At that time, the village had been destroyed, and the bodies of its residents were gathered inside a church. In such dire circumstances, Genau continually spoke with resolve to encourage the survivors, prompting others to think, maybe he really is a good person. Thanks to this, he might have gained a few more fans, or perhaps not. He even volunteered to stay behind and guard the victims' bodies, refusing to leave the church, showing his determination to not abandon anyone. Stark once told him, "You really are a good guy." Within Genau, logic and emotion are always in conflict. He's not someone adept at expressing his feelings. Genau uses the spell Rigato Nacht, which creates black wings that allow him to both attack and defend with great efficiency. He utilized this power in a battle against the General Revolti. While working with Stark and seemingly on the verge of victory, a child suddenly appeared. Genau immediately shifted to protect the child instead of pressing the attack. But it turned out to be a trap, as the child was actually a demon in disguise. He was gravely injured, repeating a mistake he had once made with a former comrade. In contrast to his initial appearance, Genau this time clearly shows his compassionate side. Viewers were left with the unmistakable impression, he really is a good guy. He survived the battle, and is one of the characters fans hope to see return in future arcs. Sense is the other proctor alongside Genau in the First-Class Mage Exam. Together, they form a notably quiet duo. The first impression she gives is of a small bird perched adorably on her head. Unlike Genau, who is willing to let candidates die if necessary, Sense is a pacifist and has previously opposed such methods. Her test also lacks lethal elements. Despite her cold exterior, Sense actually has a warm heart. That said, her exam is still extremely difficult. In the 4 sessions she has overseen, not a single candidate has passed. She's the type who builds people up just to break them down. Sense uses hair manipulation magic, layering various spells onto her hair, transforming it into a powerful weapon that can both attack and defend. Controlling each strand demands immense imagination, something Sense possesses in spades, making her worthy of the First-Class Mage title. Even Denkin, who is considered on par with first-class mages, was unable to fully counter her power. This puts her among the strongest of them all. Lernen, believed to be the strongest of all first-class mages, also makes an appearance. He was the first person to receive the title. Though Serie rarely takes on disciples, Lernen was an exception due to his extraordinary talent. While Aura failed to notice Frieren's compressed mana, Lernen immediately sensed it at first glance. It's said that he's ill-suited for times of peace, as his combat abilities rival those of mages from the Demon King era. In fact, Lernen once shattered Frieren's magical defenses and injured her. Proof that he's a true monster. Despite his deep trust in his master Serie, Lernen once feared that she would forget about him after his death. Haunted by the idea of being forgotten by history, he even considered killing Frieren to make his name known as a villain. But in the end, he didn't need to. Serie had never once forgotten him, and that realization allowed Lernen to overcome his insecurity. Falsch. Who's that again? If you're wondering that, don't worry. No judgment here. In fact, Falsch appeared right at the start of the exam, serving as a guide for the examinees. His appearance gives off the vibe of someone who constantly pushes up their glasses. However, he is also a tremendously powerful first-class mage. As Richter once said, first-class mages are all monsters. And Falsch was featured in an illustration showcasing that very statement, depicted mid-spell casting. Although not much has been shown of him yet, Falsch seems to wear a dark cloak. What's intriguing is that his magic hasn't been clearly revealed, meaning there's a strong possibility he'll return in the future. Fans of Falsch, you've got something to look forward to. Burg, another character worth remembering. He once appeared in a flashback during the Second-Class Mage Exam. As a first-class mage, Burg stands out for his immovable cloak, a garment with extremely powerful defensive capabilities. Since advancing to first class, he has never been injured. Simply put, Burg is unmatched in defense. During the second-class exam under his supervision, Burg established a rule forbidding killing, a clear indication of his kind nature and desire to protect the examinees. But during that exam, Ubel appeared, the one who brought Burg to tears. She uses the spell Real Sidon, which produces slashes capable of cutting through almost anything. Ubel is not an evil person, but she's willing to kill if necessary. She possesses steely resolve and exceptional composure. In the story, Ubel defeats 2 first-class mages in combat, though it's possible they weren't ideal matches against her. Still, taking down such experienced opponents is impressive. Ubel also has sharp instincts. She once told Land, a reserved and secretive mage, "If only you could open up a little more." The comment reveals Ubel's desire to connect with others. Perhaps because she sensed that Land, like her, views magic purely as a tool for combat, they shared an unspoken understanding. Land, often jokingly referred to as the guy with the glasses, trusts no one, not even slightly. He never actually entered the exam room, prompting Serie to exclaim, "Are you kidding me?" A rather humorous moment. Land can create identical clones of himself, replicating both appearance and strength. Normally, maintaining such magic consumes a great deal of mana, but he can control multiple clones at once, indicating his immense magical power. Although he keeps his identity and reasons for taking the exam a mystery, during the second-class exam, when he and Ubel were in danger, Ubel unleashed her ultimate move, Extreme Traurige Drache. Land always seems to choose silent endurance over vulnerability, and that might explain the person he's become. Urbel, though he looks quite young, he's actually 35. For Urbel, magic is nothing more than a tool to kill enemies. He neither loves nor hates it. This mindset resonated with Serie, who approved his promotion to First-Class Mage. A former captain of the Northern Magic Unit, Urbel's strength is far from ordinary. In the past, he once risked his life to protect his village. He has even killed children before, if they were enemies. However, unlike Ubel, who acts without hesitation, Urbel still experiences moments of doubt. To kill, he must use high-speed magic to put himself in the proper state of mind. This suggests that, at heart, he still leans toward kindness. Though killing gives him pause, if it's necessary, he won't hesitate. He lives by a firm principle. If it's necessary, kill. If not, don't. On the battlefield, he is a dangerous force, but in casual conversation, he is cheerful and easy to talk to. He once struck up a conversation with Frieren, who's known for her aloof nature, and spoke about Himmel. This shows Urbel is open, optimistic, and sincere. Moreover, he genuinely cares for and looks after Pia, which has made him even more memorable. When Frieren's group returns to the north and crosses paths with him again, something interesting is bound to happen. Urbel will reappear in a super cool fashion, so let's look forward to it. Methoda, the older sister with a special affection for the elf race. During the exam, she didn't stand out much, but she's an all-rounder mage, capable of high-speed magic, mind control, healing. Basically, there's nothing she can't do. In the second round of the exam, she supported her team quietly from the shadows, so she didn't leave much of an impression in terms of combat. However, when she reappeared later, she delivered some truly spectacular battles. There really isn't anything beyond her capability. After earning first-class status, Methode became the new partner of Genau. Since the north is heavily infested with demons, most first-class mages stationed there are battle-hardened warriors. That's why Genau was initially surprised that Methode was selected. But the reason was clear. She is a descendant of a family long devoted to exterminating demons in the Northern Highlands. A lifetime of dedication to demon eradication. That's likely what convinced Serie to acknowledge her combat spirit. However, Methode isn't someone who fights for the sake of fighting. She acts out of a sense of justice. Unlike her clan, which focused solely on destructive magic, she learned a wide array of spells and can even analyze magic. In a battle with Fern, she observed a spell and dispelled the fog by analyzing its structure. Truly, she is a flawless all-rounder with no clear weakness. Despite her strength, Methode adores cute things. She's particularly fond of Serie and Frieren's appearance, always wishing to pet them. But because she spent too long stroking Serie, she was placed under a restriction. Only 10 minutes of contact per day. Still, that's already more than enough. Denkin, the oldest examinee, formerly known as the first mage of the Empire, once held such immense power that a single word from him could move an entire nation. Yet he remains humble and treats everyone equally. As a close peer of Lernen, it's no surprise that he possesses strength comparable to a first-class mage. In his youth, Denkin had a wife, but she passed away due to illness. Though he once vowed to return to his homeland, more than 50 years have passed, and he's never fulfilled that promise. Later, his homeland was turned into gold by Mocht, the strongest mage of the 7 regions, making his inability to return understandable. Now, in his old age, his reason for seeking first-class status is tied to the Golden Mirror. He wants to see his now gilded homeland with his own eyes so he can finally let go of the past. But only first-class mages are permitted to access the barrier that seals it. When he finally reached the place and saw that it was still intact, he chose to confront Mocht, who also happened to be his former master. Though they were evenly matched, Denkin held to his principle, only use a finishing blow when certain of victory, and that very mindset led to his win. Even as a high-level mage, he remains cheerful, kind, and compassionate, qualities that earn him deep admiration from many. Fern, our ever-reliable companion, continues to grow stronger by the day. In terms of talent, she's among the most gifted in the entire story, and may become the most powerful mage of all. One clear sign of this is her ability to perceive Serie's mana fluctuations, something only Lernen and the Demon King have done before. Serie was so impressed that she immediately invited Fern to become her apprentice. Even though she has been limited to using only basic spells due to Frieren's restrictions, Frieren has built a rock-solid foundation. As she begins learning more powerful magic like fire and lightning spells, her strength will only increase further. Currently, she stands out for her quick casting, stealth, and long-range attacks. She can cast spells with blinding speed, enough to defeat even powerful demons. Her ability to suppress her mana makes it difficult for enemies to detect her, and techniques like Zultrak allow her to strike safely from a distance. With such skills, aside from the most elite demons, few enemies can withstand her. Because of this, Frieren was officially recognized as a first-class mage, although she still lacks a bit of real-world combat experience. And with that, we've covered all the current first-class mages. Each has their own distinct personality, strengths, and story. Which one is your favorite? Feel free to share in the comments. Thank you for watching until the end of the video. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe to support us. Goodbye, and see you in the next episode.